Welcome everyone to another episode of the Most Potato Podcast, the podcast where we sacrifice our siblings to earn our mother's approval. My name's Alvin.
I'm Jess.
And today we're going to be talking about The Penguin, episode 7. And I didn't think we could get any lower with Oz. I thought we've seen the worst of him. And this episode just topped everything that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
You can make a whole movie about this backstory with the flashback of him as a kid. Like, it was the most haunting thing I've seen. I don't know how this show just keeps topping itself, and it's always Oz.
Yeah.
Always. And I want the people to know in the comments from the previous video that we did, Oz is not a good person. I know some of y'all were like saying like, oh, Oz is like a man of the people. No, he's a man of himself.
Yeah. I wanted to know, and it's funny because I was just like, I wonder why he is this way. Like, how did he become just like an awful person? Why? I mean, even the flashback as a kid, it's just like, was it just regular, like, you know, kids being jealous of like their siblings? And I feel like it went a lot deeper, or he just took it too far.
Yeah.
I'm like wondering, was there something rooted in how he was behaving to as a kid? Mm-hmm. Does it have to do with his disability as well too? They don't really touch on, like, I don't know if he's like born that way or if there was an accident. I don't know if there's like ever a story about that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's something well rooted in this kid for what they showed us in this flashback and what happened to his I thought his brothers were older, like maybe like almost adults or something, because I don't know how old he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I thought they were like older guys that, you know, got killed in some sort of accident or whatever. I was not expecting this. I was horrified.
Remember in one of the previous episodes when Vic asks what happened to his brothers, mm-hmm. Oz just simply responds, "Oh, the city took them, just like they took your family." And that just hit even harder when we saw that there's water involved for both cases.
Why you bring that up? I don't remember that. Oh my God.
And just in case you guys are unaware, we are going into spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, watch that and then come to this episode. Let's talk about the flashback, because I think that's the meat of the story for me personally. Just getting more backstory on this motherfucker. Yeah, there's no defending Oz, guys. There's no defending that this dude is like a man of the people. He uses people and exploits their need for his help to look like the good guy in their lives.
Yeah.
He really only cares about his mom. When we see him in the flashback as a kid, first of all, it was funny seeing Penguin as a little kid. He almost has like an emo slick back hair. Like, it's so funny. And just seeing how he is so like fixated on his mother's attention, mm-hmm. and how quickly he goes to jealousy when his brothers get attention from her.
Yeah.
He's over here just asking if she wants to see a movie, and she kind of just rebuffs him. It's like, maybe another time. I'm busy right now. But then as soon as the brothers come in, they're over here playing zombies and shit. And Oz thinks that the mom, Frances, is going to get mad. And instead, she just starts playing along with them.
Yeah.
And you see like the hate in his eyes.
Yes.
Oh my God. How did you feel about that scene?
For like just like a second, I felt bad for him, just as a kid. Mm-hmm. But the look on his face when like the hatred and the jealousy that passed over his face, I was like, what the fuck was that? Like it just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? And I was like, I can see why he would be frustrated, like with her, with them in that regards. But I was just like, what was that look on this child's face?
Yeah.
What was that? And
he seems to be like the middle child from what I see.
Yeah. Is he? Yeah. There's the older boy.
A very slightly older boy.
And then a younger one.
Yeah. So maybe middle child syndrome is involved.
Oh, geez. I mean, gosh.
And I think maybe his disability might have an effect. Like, I think Frances kind of treats him differently and just thinks he's not nearly as valuable.
Maybe. Yeah. I think there is a difference in how she treats him. I don't feel like it's like bad. She seems pretty sweet with her kids for the most part, but there's also something where, I don't know, where she's kind of like dismissive of them. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting to see, like, I think she deeply cares about them, but she just doesn't know how to show it, or she's too distracted about other things. Like, she was at the table, I don't know what she was doing, maybe go over finances or owing money.
She was getting something situated with a gangster, because remember, she sends her boys to go get information from the gangster, and then the gangster gives the oldest brother some money. So I guess she does love her kids, but she also puts them at risk.
Yeah.
Because she's working with fucking gangsters.
I'm like, do you just assume maybe they won't do anything to kids? Because last time I checked, everyone can get those hands. Like, I thought that was like kind of odd, and it made me wonder why she doesn't go herself to do this. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think it has to do with her overly dependence on a man, because that is what ultimately pulls Oz in, is wanting to be useful and wanting to be a provider for this woman. Yeah. Like, she leans hard on these boys to be the man of the house. She's like got that internalized misogyny where she's just like, I'm a woman, I can't take care of myself, I can't take care of my kids, I need you boys to take care of me. Yeah. And that's ultimately what Oz, falls into. That becomes his responsibility, but he wants that because we see that he actively murders his brothers when they go play flashlight tag, whatever that is, in the sewers. And because he feels like he's getting picked on, he locks the brothers into that sewer tunnel. So he actively gets those brothers drowned. It's not like he's just like, oh, I locked the door by accident, I didn't realize what I was doing.
Something,
yeah, he knew exactly what the outcome was going to be, because he is so fixated on his mother. And this is where Frances basically has to take the blame for this, because she puts so much pressure on Oz specifically to have to work for the mother's approval, because she doesn't want to simply play with him. I don't think she really likes him unless he proves himself to be useful. Yeah. Like the way that they talk with each other, when he said like, oh, like, it's a date when we go see, the movie, which he eventually comes home to watch a movie with her, which at face value, it sounds kind of cute. But then later on, we see also that eventually Oz ends up going to a jazz nightclub with his mom later on, and they look like two people that would be partners. Like, that should be a grown adult dancing with the mom.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And they're holding each other, and Frances is just putting all this pressure, saying, you need to be the one to take care of me, Oz. I can't do this on my own. Yeah. And it's clear that Oz is a victim of this thing called emotional incest, which is something I just recently discovered in psychology, where the parent makes you become like a co-parent and leans on you and almost basically wants to be like a child, and that you become the parent. Yeah. It's real. I did not expect that sort of dynamic to come up in the Penguin show. I thought that was really fascinating. I thought it was haunting. It was gross. I just want to I have beef with the mom because she really failed these boys.
Yeah, she did. It is really weird to watch. And like you said, you would think that it's like cute, but yeah, for a child like him who already seems to be like just hungry for approval from his mom and just wanting to like fit in, it's so weird that she would kind of like beat this into his head, like this is what he's gonna absorb and want to do. Like he's gonna want to make sure he can provide for her and do whatever it is that she needs, and he's gonna do anything it takes to be the one to do that. And I just like, why would you put that on a kid? And I get she's grieving the two other boys, but it's still like, you cannot put this on this kid like that. It's so weird. Do you think she was doing that before they died, or maybe on the older one, or maybe not?
I think she was always doing that with the boys in general, because she just utilizes them for whatever work she's doing with gangsters or whoever. It's just a matter of who's going to get the brunt of that sort of dynamic. And it ended up being Oz, because he wanted that. Yeah. He wanted the brothers out of the way so that he can gain approval. So crazy. Yeah, it's a really twisted, demented relationship. It explains everything about Oz, but it doesn't absolve him, which I appreciate the show doing. It's just breaking down, why are you the way you are? why do you not care about people? And this is why. Yeah. So it's oh God, it was haunting stuff. And I feel like early on in the scene where the kids were playing zombies with the mom, I asked you this earlier. I think that was like low-key foreshadowing of the outcome of those boys. Really? Because why... I don't know. My brain, again, I'm like an overthinker. So my brain was just like, why specifically play zombies? Like, you could have been anyone else, like cowboys, ninjas, whatever the hell. Why zombies? Why pretend to be zombies? And then 2 minutes later into the episode, they drown.
But they don't come back as zombies. So.
No, but zombies represent death. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I think that was like some sly little foreshadowing.
I don't know. I'm like, maybe during the time zombie movies were a thing, like, I don't know, whatever year that's supposed to be related to. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I guess you could see it that way, but I didn't think anything of it. Yeah, I just thought it was just like kids being kids, and that's it. And Oz thinking that this is stupid, probably because he can't run around like that, and like she would never do that with him, and she doesn't even want to sit and watch a movie with him right away. So I think that's all it was. It was to show just like they can run around, and she like will quickly jump in on that. Yeah. You know, she'll quickly do that. But with him to watch a movie, we could do that later. Yeah. You know?
And it's interesting that the movie that they put on is like this tap dancing movie. Because two things came to mind. One was like, I saw that they did some close-ups on like the leg work that the dancer was doing. And I wonder if that was like an indication of like Oz gravitating towards something that he can't do physically and kind of projecting that and being like, I want to achieve greatness. I want to achieve the impossible. And then also there was a moment, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a moment where the main dancer pretends to shoot his backup dancers and then he just grins. Yeah. He enjoys that shit.
It brought me back to when he was watching Sal's wife and son burn, and that like the gross look on his face. I was like, ugh.
He was enjoying that.
But then like you see this like kid I was just like, and then not only that, because they were watching the movie, his brothers were trapped in the sewers. Yeah. And then at the windowsill, there was this jar, like just this random jar on the window, just filling up with water. And it kept going back to that. Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
You didn't? No. Oh my God, yes.
Holy shit.
It was a jar.
Foreshadowing.
And it kept going back to it as they watched the movie. The water it was filling and then it was overflowing. And then it started overflowing at one point. And then it kept going, the scenes kept going back to the door, the sewage. And you heard them saying, help, help. And eventually they stopped, and then like the silent jar was just overflowed with like water, and I was just like, this little shit.
See, I'm overthinking about zombies, and I'm missing
the mason jar thingy or whatever that thing. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, because it kept doing that. It was just like them on the couch, him enjoying the movie, him smiling at certain parts of the movies, then it going to the window as the storm was like really bad, then back to the sewer, and I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, can he just go back? Can he stay? And then nothing. And then the mom's like, oh yeah, they should have been back by now and all that stuff. And I was just like, I was hurting for her because like she was actually like, where are my kids? Yeah. You know, but it was, it's...
Terrible. Yeah. Terrible. All right, let's jump ahead into Sal passing away suddenly. I don't know. I know there was a lot of death going on in this show, and it is kind of like a limited series, but I did not expect Salvatore Maroni to just die randomly of like a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah, I was confused, much like Oz. I was just like, what?
What do you mean heart attack? What?
I was
Stroke?
Like, did he... stab him or like what? I'm just like, I was expecting like, you know, Oz to like shoot him or stab him
something
or
more active,
because they were tumbling around in that like abandoned bus thingy in the sewers where they're making the drugs. But I was just like, is he good? Like, you good? And then like, I'm like, is he having a heart attack? Like,
holy fucking shit.
Who does that? Yeah.
Who does that?
I was like, come on, like we got so much, but I mean, for me, I guess in a sense it makes sense. He lost his wife, his son. He's an older guy. He's running around like, you know, and he's very, he's like very, very emotional right now and just like raw and I mean, my heart would take me too. Like I would just, so it makes sense. But I was also kind of like, really? Like,
yeah, it felt underwhelming and just out of nowhere.
That's why Oz was pissed too. He was just like, really? Like, no. He's like,
yeah. Why was he so mad about Sal dying? I'm like, you got what you wanted. He died.
He died, but not. Yeah, but clearly there was a way he wanted it.
Yeah, because when he saw him just on the ground and he just yelled at him, he was just like, you're supposed to take me out. What is this?
Yeah.
It's like, I beat you. He's like, he wanted the credit so bad. He wanted to actively be the one to take his life. So then he just shoots his corpse as like a consolation prize.
I was just like, ooh.
It that really
was funny.
Again, it further perpetuates how demented Oz is. He is not kind in any way. Like, really, like, his mom is the only thing that's close to, like, him being, like, loving to somebody. But, yeah, this dude's a sociopath. For him to, like, be so mad to not be able to actively kill this guy It's just like, dude, first of all, you have the power of serendipity, because I don't know how many times you've gotten out of really sticky situations that wasn't part of your planning. Just take this W and go after Sofia.
Yeah.
Because she's got your mom now. I think it goes back to what you were saying. Sal was so full of passion and emotion and rage that I think I guess that kind of makes sense why his heart would give out. I guess they tried to do something poetic about that. While as Oz is just like cold, unfeeling, has nothing. Only his mom really gives him the drive.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say he experiences regular emotions compared to somebody like Sal. So he's gone. So I guess rest in peace, Sal. You will be missed, Mr. Krabs. I guess that's it for him. We'll never see him again. Kind of underwhelming, but it also didn't bother me either too much. Like, it wasn't like a bad part of the story either. But Sofia has a very interesting turn this time around. There's this really interesting dynamic that goes on between Sofia and Francis when they have a conversation with each other. Oh, yeah. Francis basically just, like, talks shit to Sofia, talking about, like, you think you're gonna make it in this game? Like, you're a woman, basically. Like, you're just... She mentions this line of, like, oh, there's the same winners and losers. You're playing the same game. Like, the game is the game. Meaning... it's a man's game. Like, you could pretend to be the big main honcho, like, all you want, but it's not going to work for you. That's, like, her misogyny jumping out, and then Sofia is just like, what do I do with this person? It was really interesting to see those two clash, and then her and Sofia trying to get information out of Francis, and we see a moment where I think you mentioned that you thought maybe Francis was faking the twitches that she was having, because she cracks for a bit. She starts talking about her boys, but then when she comes to, she slaps the shit out of Sofia.
Yeah. I know, it made it seem like she was just like doing that, but I think it was real. I think she got triggered.
The showrunner, I think, mentioned briefly about that condition.
Yeah, she got triggered when Sofia started talking about the boys.
Yeah.
And I mean, Sofia doesn't know the story. She doesn't know anything. I mean, she just found out that Francis existed because Oz said she died. So she doesn't really know, but she's very, like, just curious as to, like, who this woman is and what's up with her.
And how did Oz come from this person?
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was like, at first I was like, oh, maybe not, but I was just like, she definitely got transported back to when she was, like, trying to find her boys. Yeah,
like she was actually reliving that moment. And I like that moment because it kind of puts a question in Sofia's head of, like, some sort of doubt, like, can I actually really do this? Because then later on she goes to visit Gia, her little cousin that was, like, the remaining survivor of the Falcones.
Oh yeah, because she said that she saw something, and
she saw the gas mask in Sofia's bag,
and I was just like, oh gosh.
And she's considering talking to the cops about it. So I don't know, how did you feel during that scene where Sofia's basically telling Gia that the family deserved what they got?
Well, I mean, like, first her coming into, I guess it's like an orphanage?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I was, like, kind of, like, you see, Sofia, I was just like, you're doing the same shit. Francis is right. Like, look at what your dad did to you. And I'm like, now look at where Sofia is. It was kind of almost like, there was, like, this parallel, like, from when she ended up in Arkham and she was going in and walking past, like, the doors and all that stuff, and as she walked to what is it? What's the girl's name? Gia's room. I got, like, that same vibe, and then when they opened the door and I saw the little girl, I was just like, wait a second, this is where she's been this whole time. This is what happens to her. If you spared her, there was no way for you to, like, I don't know, send her somewhere
more comfortable.
I mean, you have money. I assume they have money. Why couldn't you send her somewhere?
Yeah,
somewhere better than where she is. And then just seeing the little girl, just, like, you know, she knows what happens, kind of, basically. I'm pretty sure she's just like, this woman
she put
killed
the pieces
the whole
together.
Family.
Yeah,
and, you know, because she saw the mask too. So she knows, and she's suffering, and it's because of Sofia. And you could tell that Sofia is, like, kind of upset that she's the
remorseful.
cause. She's very, and you could tell that she is, but she also tells her, she's just like, everyone deserved it. You're going to be better off for this. I'm just like, this girl is harming herself now. Like, look at where she's at.
She's self-harming. I was not expecting that part.
I'm like, now maybe she will get past it. She's going to have to dig her way and work extra hard when she was put in this situation by you.
Yeah.
You know, and to see the girl like that, I was actually like, I don't know, disappointed in Sofia, because I was just like, you did what they did to you. You're no better. You're same old same, but now you're trying to be gigante and stuff. And yeah, I was just like, I was really disappointed in her.
Yeah, it gave me a wake-up call, because I was over here fanboying over this woman, and then I didn't even stop to consider the impact that this would have on the girl, Gia.
She didn't stop to consider it herself.
No, it's like, I get it. You're trying to justify that you killed these horrible people, and maybe Gia shouldn't have grown up with a family like that. But who are you to decide to be the one to wipe out her direct family? And then look at where she's put in right now. She's not in a safe home.
Yeah.
She is right now in an environment that she could easily just fall into an abyss and like turn to like drug use. Maybe she'll enter the crime world herself. Mm-hmm. And Sofia has to reckon with that. Like, it breaks her heart. She panics. She freaks out. And I've been hearing some very interesting theories about what they might do with Gia. People are thinking like, oh, what if they set her up as like a future Batgirl or like a Robin type position? People are thinking she might end up a vigilante.
Interesting.
Yeah, people are theorizing about Vic being a vigilante as well. And I'm just like, I kind of hope they just leave them as just people that have to pick up the pieces.
Just people.
Yeah, because I don't know. For me, it just feels too cartoonish to have like little pre-adolescent teens, I don't know, running around in costumes.
Yeah. I mean, the Gia one I kind of like, but I'm also just like, I just figured she would try to get her revenge on Sofia eventually, but I still think Sofia is going to die at the end of the season. So
that's still very possible, yeah.
Maybe she'll grow up and then take over. Maybe Sofia will leave everything to her. Who knows? Because the way Sofia was talking, like at this point, I feel like she is willing to go out with a bang if it's the last thing she does. So I don't think Sofia is gonna make it out of this season.
Yeah, she has an interesting question or an interesting conversation with Julian when she gets back, and she's like having a mental breakdown, and he asks her like, "What do you want?" And she says this line that goes, "I want to be free." I think she repeats that twice. But then she starts saying, but I want Oz to hurt the way that I've hurt. Yeah. So it's almost like she had a moment of clarity of like, I think I want to get out of this business and not do crime anymore. I think that maybe is what it means, because she never explains what it means to be free. But then she gets right back into like her revenge and her bloodthirst for Oz. So she doesn't ultimately learn her lesson after that interaction with Gia. So I think she'll probably will end up dying, but not before maybe possibly getting some sort of revenge on Oz. Yeah. Because I think Oz is definitely going to make it. I don't think the mom will make it, and maybe Vic might end up being a victim as well. But it's hard to tell if Oz really genuinely cares about this boy, or if he still only sees him as a useful tool. Because right now I think he's just a useful tool. Because he told Vic, like, go call for help. Like, fuck your guilt. Don't tell me sorry. Go get some help. Yeah. That's, like, the only reason why he didn't kill him or, like, toss him aside.
I was wondering, I was just like, what was he going to, like, kill him in, like, a fit of rage for, like, his
being
mom
knocked out?
Yeah. I thought that was going to happen. And I was like, oh, well, he didn't. But then he also needs someone to go get backup. So, like, I don't know. I mixed feelings. I still can't pinpoint how he really feels about him. I mean, I know he was like sitting at the bar all sad.
He looked heartbroken in episode 3.
And I was just like, maybe like he's really growing on him, and this kid really could mean something to him. Yeah. But now with his mom being kidnapped and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the car bomb situation happened.
I just kept saying, Oz is a piece of shit. He ain't gonna tell anybody and be like, bomb. All you had to say was bomb. And he just left. He just left and had the people looking in the back of the truck. I was like, come on.
Yeah, just that scene.
I picked up on that instantly. I was just like,
I kind of felt that coming.
Yeah, I was like, he's not back there. And then whoever drove the car in, they just get out and they run away. And I was just like,
and where's the type of security? Like, you're in the tunnel of like Oz's lair. There should be like security dudes making sure the car isn't sus. And then when the guy like ran away from the car, I was like, it has to be a bomb. But they did a good slow build up to it when Oz is walking up towards the trunk. I thought for a moment maybe it's a bomb and the mom's body.
I did think that too. But the way he walked up, he was already like devastated, and I was just like, there's no way she's in there. Like, it can't be. I was like, it's got to be that. And they had like 17 seconds. He He just
He
left.
dipped. This dude dipped. He said, with my peg leg, I will make it out of this. I won't even warn anybody about the bomb.
Yes, I was just like, seriously, you could have said something. He didn't say anything, but I guess it wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have done much, I
that
think.
whole block just like
Just
caved in
concaved.
on itself. I was just like, shit. But I thought it was really funny that he ran away to the same tunnel that his brothers he trapped in that same
Poetic injustice. That was really
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, because when he was a kid, he couldn't bring himself to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he jumps right down.
Yeah.
Just like a water country slide. And then when he gets back up after the explosion, he looks like a rising phoenix. Like when he climbs back up the stairs, there's like a light coming down on him, rubble everywhere. And I was just like, Oz, you are not the hero you think you are. Like, you are terrible.
Honestly,
You could have just yelled out bomb.
not surprised at this point. It's just like, it's bound to happen. I had to know he was going to get out of there because we still have one episode. So
I'm not ready. I don't want the show to end.
yeah, I'm just like, we have one more episode, so he has to make it, because then they cut to the scene where we know that Frances is in fact alive.
Yeah, she's taken to the same jazz theater that they went to as
Oh, it was?
when Oz was a kid.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so it's gonna be a major showdown. How, I don't know, because
Yeah.
as soon as he climbs out, of that hole, he's whacked by that. Was it the police officer guy?
Yeah, it was like a police officer that was bribed
Was it
by
the
Sofia.
stupid one with the stupid voice, or no?
I know it was
Maybe
somebody
a different
totally
one.
different. There's no way he's gonna get killed off. It's gonna be Sofia. It's just a matter of how does Oz get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope this time he actually has like a solid, like believable plan, because I'm getting tired of him kind of having the power of plot armor
Yeah.
to get out of situations.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, and I'm really anxious to see how this whole series just ends, because I think I did hear it's official that this season is supposed to lead up into what the Batman 2 will be.
Okay.
Speaking of Batman, if he doesn't show up at Crown Point after this, like, I've been fine not seeing Batman. Like, I've been able to suspend my disbelief that he's been probably busy with other things to deal with these crime lords getting offed here and there. I know it's a ghetto, but there was like an entire, like, basically earthquake that just happened.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be kind of weird.
Falling on itself. So, yeah.
I don't think he'll show up, but it'll be very funny
How
to
would
just...
you want him to show up? Like, what do you want? Like, just, I don't know, him moving rubble, or like...
I don't know. Just acknowledge, just honestly, even just a moment of like somebody watching the TV saying the Batman had shown up in Crown Point to help clean up or something. I don't, because it's so weird.
Batman or Bruce?
Either one.
Either one?
Either one.
Okay.
I'd be fine with either one, but I don't think he shows up ultimately. But I just think it's so fucking weird at this point to not see a presence of him at this point. So I don't know. Maybe in the, like, at the very end, maybe they'll tease Batman as this ties into like the next movie.
Because I would assume, like, okay, so the Sofia blows up the sewer, bomb goes off, Oz gets whacked, and then he's probably going to be taken. I think it's all going to happen within the same day. So I think you're teasing the Batman at the very end of the season. That could be where he shows up.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this will drag out for another, like, couple of days or weeks. I
This-
think
this
it's
is
going to all
ending.
happen that same day when we get into episode 8.
Yeah.
Like, straight through that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm wondering if the other crime lords that Oz partnered up with are going to show up, because they haven't done anything yet either.
That is true. They're definitely going to... why go through the trouble of, like, bringing them all together just for them not to be utilized
I think
later?
because the facility's blown up and the products are gone, so maybe they don't have incentive to work with Oz anymore. Maybe they disband.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm really curious. I'm anxious to figure out what's going on, and I'm very sad that this show's ending.
Well, it'd be like that. Do you want it to run forever and be ruined?
No, I do not.
Yes.
So this was it's going to be a good, solid season. I think 8 episodes felt like, I think, plenty for this series.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So yeah, I think those are all my thoughts on the show.
Yeah.
Anything from you?
No, I
No?
think we touched on everything that I was thinking. I taught you about the mason jar at the window. and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that'll be all our thoughts on this episode of The Penguin Guys. Let us know what your thoughts are on this episode. What are your theories? What are your questions? Does Batman show up? Is Penguin going to be the new crime lord of this city? Is Gia going to be Robin and start, I don't know, doing 12-year-old just flips and tricks and attacks with a pole? I don't know.
Pole.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit notification bells, Share this video with your favorite mob bosses, your mom, your brothers that are currently drowning in the sewer right now.
Wow.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.